to make it stop, and you got...
Yeah, but I was just wiped out from doing yard work mostly.
Well, we gotta put this all on.
No, we need to put it out. Honestly, we need to. We're rolling, by the way, but we need to do something with it.
No,
No, you're fine. Been doing tons and tons of yard work. Let me turn on this thing. It's a professional environment, obviously. Professional podcast. The new studio looks good, though. I'm happy with it. For people that give a shit about the video aspect of this. All 4 of you. Eventually there will be soundboard and whatnot put in here. But until then, stuck like this. Also, the chairs are loose and rolly as hell still. So, I gotta get a computer pad for the office. What the fuck is he doing? Is he pissing? He's pissing in my bathroom. Insanely stupid. So unprofessional. Told him to show up yesterday and record. He showed up, didn't want to record, had to leave. I'm kidding, he had to go to a funeral. Oh, there he is, finally. Jesus. I'm just trying to entertain all 7 of our fans.
All 7 of our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, right. No, it was just raining too much this morning for me to even want to try to do any yard work, and then it was also cold as a bitch, so I was like, I'm just going to wait until it warms up before I go fucking with the car.
I don't blame you there. Plus, I mean, if you're doing a rear main...
Damn!
If you're doing a rear main seal, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, and I'm just... Yeah, well, I'm just not going to do that for a couple weeks, so I'm probably going to still have the car street ready on Tuesday. Yeah, righty tighty, lefty loose.
Dude, I'm still kind of waking up. So, but
you can do it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still waking up.
You're fine. Just breaking all my equipment.
I got a quota to meet.
I don't even think I have another one of these arms, which would be funny. You have to switch the holding it like a fucking tool.
Rig it up with like a coat hanger and duct tape. Like
no, honestly,
expanding foam.
Yeah, that fucking Loctite that I use as body filler. It works though. God damn it!
It does work. I
just got to get some fiberglass strips on there and paint it, and it'll fucking look brand new. Now the cable's wrapped up. It's fine. Just don't pull on it really hard again. I'll fix it at some point. You can also just undo that little Velcro strap on the camera arm. Here, see, this is what you get here at this type of podcast. You get behind the scenes look at how to run a shitty podcast yourself.
Well,
this is an entrepreneurial punk rock podcast.
Well, considering that, we have...
You're fine. As long as I just don't want it tight enough that you yank it out.
But yeah, considering that, we've been kind of lacking because of everything going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being a productive human being. I bought a house. I'm renovating certain aspects of that house. I mean, I'm building.
Yeah, when you kept sending me pictures yesterday, you're like, I did this. And then like 30 minutes later, you're like, okay, I did this. And I'm like, dude, calm down. Like, dude, the house is going nowhere.
When Kara got home, I was like, all right, I'm going to shower and then I'll finish hanging up the inside stuff. And then, I got out of the shower and I, hung the toilet paper holder in the main bathroom and I was like, all right, I'm done. This is the last thing. It was the only thing I needed her opinion on it because where she wanted it.
Well, give you something kind of funny to laugh at. Dad was texting me today when I was on my way here. And he's like, hey, keep me updated because he found some guy who's wanting to get rid of, some Ryobi tools.
Sick.
And, those batteries alone are expensive. But
tools are tools. Tools are tools. I'm always down to get tools.
Oh, yeah. Well, he found some guy who's got, a bunch of Ryobi tools and a bunch of batteries for, $80.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, that's worth it, you know. But he's like, well, when you guys are done recording, he's like, keep me updated if you want to. He's meeting somebody off Marketplace. He don't want to go by himself,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But he,
Have I told my Marketplace blunder on this podcast? Do you know what I'm talking about? When I had the Datsun, when I originally got the Datsun down in Georgia, and I sold the engine that came with the Datsun. It was an engine transmission combo. I might have told it on the old podcast, which is like on a different playlist on the YouTube, but I'll tell it on here just because we have a little more traffic. Anyway, and it's a funny story if you don't know what I'm talking about. So when I pulled the engine out of the Datsun, it was engine transmission. It was out of a Ford Mustang. And I sold it to some dude who was like an hour away from where I lived. So me and my homie with a pickup truck, Ford Ranger,
Nice.
drove all the way out to meet this dude in a Home Depot parking lot. He selected the Home Depot parking lot. I thought it was just because it was a public place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rolled up, and then like a Mexican family pulled up in a pickup truck. And the dude who had the money and wanted the engine spoke no English. So his wife was the one who had been texting me on Facebook Marketplace the whole time.
Good thing for Google Translate, right?
Yeah, well, she spoke a little English and stuff. But while I'm like, we literally just backed the two trucks up to each other and then just pulled the engine transmission over from one to the other. Well, because it worked.
I mean, if it works.
Yeah, but so I had brought my pistol there. And I was using the holster that I originally had, which was mad uncomfortable, and like super bulky. And so while I'm sitting there wrestling this engine, my fucking magazine falls out of the pistol.
Oh, God.
And just lands on the fucking parking lot in between me and this dude.
Well, you are carrying a full-size handgun, I'm just saying.
It fits my hand.
You need a shoulder holster for it.
No, I'm not a queer. I just appendix carry. No, I'm gonna get one for the winter. I'm gonna get one for the winter time. But anyway, so I just hear like a clatter on the ground, and him and I both look at each other. Then we look down, and we just see my mag loaded with hollow points. And then him and I look at each other. I just pick it up, put it right back in my gun, and then he looked at me, and because he initially had been arguing, because I sold it for like $250. He had initially been arguing for $200, and I was like, we'll talk about it when we get there. But I want $250. The Mustang motor. Suck my ass. And then he did not argue.
I would imagine not.
No,
And
which was not my intention. And my buddy who drove up there with me had no idea I brought my pistol. We were both in the Army.
I mean, look, dude, if you're buying or selling shit on Marketplace, I'm a firm
Or
believer.
Craigslist. Because I'm a big Craigslist.
If you're doing anything like that and meeting up with a random person to sell some shit, you might as well consider it as like a legitimate drug deal.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
That's the way that it is. Like, you got to go protect it.
Yeah, and you're meeting strangers to deal with any type of value item.
And that's how it is with him. Like, he wants me to go, he's like...
Well, yeah, he's also got a peg leg. So, like...
He's at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
so,
all it takes is for him to get out of the car and then realize, like, oh, I can just kick his ankles and run.
Well, and then...
Because he's not shooting anybody anyway.
Yeah.
He can't see. He'll hit someone.
I don't know, man. I've seen him shoot even with the way his eyesight is. He's still pretty good.
He shot recently since he went blind?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he's actually still pretty damn good. I guess it's that muscle memory of, being a cop. But the...
You think he can only see in black and white now, so he just imagines they're all black.
Oh man,
yeah, that's that cop training.
I'm gonna have to mention that to him when I get home and be like, hey, like, do you only see in black and white? Like, you just fire when you see black?
Yeah, like, everyone looks like the black silhouettes he fired at the police academy.
Like, do you feel the urge to just yell "stop resisting" when you?
That's why he lives in the white. That's why he lives in the trailer park, because he knows he won't accidentally shoot one of his neighbors. Because they're all fucking just old honkies.
Like, a little fun, thing that he had said, he's like, keep me updated. When you leave, he's like, I was going to see if you would go with me to go get this. And
right.
We're going to go get the flowers, put out in the yard and all that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, when I get done at the house, I was like, I'll let you know that I'm on my way back. And he's like, took him a couple minutes, and I think it took him by surprise, because he sent me another text back, and he's like, I gotta get used to you saying that you're leaving your house. And I was like, because of...
Yeah, I'm an adult, motherfucker. Yeah.
And I was like...
But I know it's just because you're not living with him.
Yeah, but I was like, but this shouldn't be new to you. I was like, I've had 2 homes that I've lived in, and
Right.
you know. But I thought it was funny.
No, he's just realizing he's not going to have anybody to talk to. But it's,
yeah, and in that aspect, I do kind of feel bad for him. But there are some days I'm just like,
oh yeah, no, it's because he's still
Like-
he still thinks he's your dad and you're 16, and two, he used to be a fucking cop.
but he means well a lot of the time. He does.
Yeah, but he also
he really does. Like, but
But you also got to imagine that Grandpa beat the shit out of them when they were kids.
for good reason.
I mean, yeah, but also like times have changed nowadays, right? And I used to get smacked around by my mom.
That's why I love like bringing shit up to mom, like when we're around, and I'm like, you used to beat the fuck out of me when I was. And she'd be like, that never happened. I'm like, the fuck it didn't. I'm like, you used to like beat the ever living shit out of
the
us.
mom and grandma both would whoop the shit out of me. Like it's
Grandma's 86 years old, or what? She's pushing 90, and I've seen her whip somebody's ass that was my age.
Yeah.
So, and that was what?
I mean, she was
10
like
years ago?
Yeah, I was gonna say she was like in her late 70s when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, she's a certified black belt in like 4 or 5 different martial arts.
Yeah.
Like,
I know she old, but that's why you fear old people in anime because they're fucking.
do you remember?
shit.
Do you remember when you brought the lightsabers over and she did lightsaber combat on the front yard?
Yeah, she was kicking ass.
She was
it was
kicking
so
ass
fun.
too.
It was hilarious.
And that's what I mean. Like, I like as bad as shape as she is in right now. I still feel like she would put the hurt on somebody.
Yeah, she just wouldn't come out unscathed. She's old. That's just how
But
it is.
she just.
It's like, you ever watched the Baki series on Netflix? The fighting anime? It's all like
I've
martial
seen
arts.
it, but I've not. But I've not watched
There's
it.
there's a really, really old Chinese martial arts expert, and like he fights like the current like Japanese god of martial arts or whatever. And he realizes like mid-fight, the old man realizes he's not going to come out of this unscathed. So he just basically plays possum by stopping his hurt.
Oh, that's funny.
But he just pulls he's like, I'm too old for this shit. And then passes out, and then he dies, and then comes back like an hour later.
You know, I actually asked Mike recently because I try to reach
Very
out.
good if you haven't seen it.
I try to reach out to him like once every couple months at least to make sure he's okay. Which, on a different note, I am going to tell you about this real quick. But on a different note, he did say that he's having a problem with immigration, I guess, over in Japan.
Hilarious.
And dude's been there for 7-8 years.
Japan's pretty strict about immigration too.
Yeah, and so now he's having problems with that. And when I was texting him the other day, he's like, "Well, me and the wife are going to Hiroshima over here," and I'm like, "Okay." But I did ask him recently. I was like, "Hey, does your pride still hurt from getting your ass kicked by grandma?" And he's like, "I think about it every day."
You should.
But
every time he's like, oh, my fucking ass hurts. It's because grandma flipped him over 17 times.
yeah, and he thought
he could have done bicycle kicks with
he
his
thought
body
he was Billy
like a fucking
Badass.
circus.
He was going to whip grandma, and she put the hurt on him, man. But yeah, that's,
and it's so funny to act that way towards grandma, even without knowing anything about her, because
you would never think it because she is the sweetest woman ever.
Oh yeah, no, she's like a picturesque tiny grandma. But I mean, because even if you know nothing about her, he had to know about grandpa, and grandpa is like a certified psychopath.
Oh yeah,
Government stamped. Here you go. He does, and to this day, he does more shady things.
Yeah, and the fact that he was a part of the whole Air America shit back in the 70s and 60s,
and just knowing that if you smart off the grandma, you're liable just to get shot in his front yard and nothing will happen to him.
Mm-hmm. And I watched him do that shit so many times, where he. That one day where he...
Well, not shoot somebody in the front yard.
No, I mean, it's come close.
Oh, I know.
A couple times, but
I'm just saying that he is someone who very much could just make a phone call and then he would not go to jail.
That's true. Like when he handed me, like what, it was about 2 years ago, he handed me that box with that fucking metal in it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was I got it at home because he gave it to me. But it's the medal that they give you. It's like the highest honors you can get for being like a civilian, to be a part of something without being in the military.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about.
It's like the American Freedom Medal.
Yeah, it's something like that. And and I was like, how'd you get that? And then that's when he told me about the whole shit with like Air America back in the 60s and 70s. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. And he told me all the different stuff that he did back in the day. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, I was not aware of that. And if anybody that isn't aware of what the Air America stuff is, we're going to pull it up. But I'm pretty sure it was back in the 60s. Where... Yeah, so what they were doing is they were running, like, drugs and guns, like, across the borders and everything. But they were, like, disguising it as, like, a commercial airline. But it was ran by CIA.
Yeah. I know about this. But this is... So, concerning the confusion concerning the CIA and the U.S. government regarding ownership and responsibility is understandable. The complexity of what was going on in China during the 1949 to 50 era was very difficult to grasp.
Yeah, they came up with the idea during like the mid 40s and then early 50s, and then it actually went into effect in like I think it was like the 60s and 70s.
Two CIA agents, John Downey and Richard Fekir, survived and were captured and sentenced to prison for 20 years. They landed in China. They shot the aircraft down in China. It was in 1952, Robert Snoddy, World War II decorated pilot, extracted an agent from Manchuria, designated as C-47 with a hook that would snag a line between two poles, which is a thing we still do today.
Mm-hmm.
First on the ground.
You talking about a Fulton recovery?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But a Fulton using a C-47.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Which is a prop aircraft. Let's see, where am I going? In January 1968, two Russian-built AN-2 Colts bombed the site. What site? Okay, I think I went too far.
So
ahead.
It basically went from they founded it in 46, and then it went to 1976.
Yeah.
So, but they did a lot of their operations was like during the Vietnam War.
Yeah, in Laos in 1963. Nice. In 1966, the U.S. Air Force founded the Raven program using Cessnas, which I guarantee were provided by Air America.
Well, I actually found out there was one movie that I watched recently that is a very good portrayal of what they did, and it's the one that Tom Cruise was in called American Made. Yeah, and that was actually what Air America.
So I found it. So in 1969, Richard Nixon vowed he would end the Vietnam War. Nixon escalated the fighting in Laos, forcing the North Vietnamese to divert assets to Laos to make it appear that the South Vietnamese could handle the security against the North Vietnamese. Air America military activity increased as well. In 25 years, Air America suffered approximately 186 killed in action.
Mm-hmm.
By this time, Air America was hauling tons of ammunition, rice, and other foodstuffs, water, and fuel for aircraft and unmarked military issues. Oh, I know they were. This is the official story.
Oh, this is Air America's website.
Oh, this is what they admit to.
This is what they admit to. But they were running cocaine and
of course.
All that shit.
Yeah, that's how they funded it. That's how the war was funded.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know this partially because there are undisclosed documents that have been leaked, and because of fucking our grandpa was one of these motherfuckers that was doing it. So,
and
people will think that we're full of shit. I tell you all the time. People,
They think our life is like made up, dude, and they do. They really do.
just because we live in shitty Dayton, Ohio, but it's like you don't understand. Right, Pat is right fucking there.
Well, see, that's like the other thing, like great grandpa. Okay, so grandpa's dad. Not only was grandpa a part of Air America and all this bullshit and everything, then I find out years ago, like when I was really big into learning about like the family's history and everything like that. Great grandpa, I've idolized that man my whole life. He was an amazing individual. Was in World War II, was a marksman, everything like that. And then when he left, on top of that, when he wasn't over in D-Day, he participated in that. But then he was also the chauffeur for fucking, what's the, it's right on the tip of my tongue, but the
general?
No, it was for the scientists at Los Alamos and during the Manhattan Project.
Oh, you mean fucking Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. It was Oppenheimer, his wife, and a bunch of other people, but he drove them from like their housing area to the labs every day.
Yeah, which is also how Grandpa was able to get his foot in the door with the CIA.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I come to find out that, and I went down a really big rabbit hole with this one. They said that he had cosmic clearance back in like the 60s and 70s. And I come to find out what cosmic clearance was used for back in the day. And that was when you would go and they would do stuff at like Groom Lake out in Nevada.
Right.
That was it was there and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yep.
So cosmic clearance was, you could only apparently use it at those two bases.
Yeah, because that's where all the UFO stuff allegedly comes from.
I went down a huge rabbit hole.
And if you,
when I found that out.
So when I was looking for maps of the area, because
I remember that. Yeah.
So you remember me going down this rabbit hole for weeks.
I remember you calling me, and the only thing I could describe of the way you were was like that fucking meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, with all the
like all the strings,
all the red strings and the pictures, and I'm like smoking a cigarette, and I'm like I'm talking. I'm like, this is Jimmy, and they're like, who the fuck are you talking about, Jimmy? And I look, oh fuck, where's Jimmy?
But I know you called me and you were like, dude, you gotta listen to this, and I was like, you don't ever call me and act like this. Like, what is going on?
You don't understand how I sent a video to AJ from the Y-Files. That's how fucking deep I went into this. I was like, I want him to look into it. I hope he does something with it.
But he has mentioned it.
I know.
Yeah, and that's what the crazy part was. Like, I sent that to you and I was like, he mentioned it.
I told you. I was right. And it was like a month after I sent him the video, so I might be the inspiration for that. Because, dude, I recorded like a 6-minute video of me just holding my phone here being like, all right, listen, I'm not crazy. I just like maps. I was in the military for a long time. I like maps. I know how to read them. Other people don't know how to read them.
Tell people you're autistic without telling them you're autistic.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm so good at finding my way, like, naturally through terrain association. It's unreal. Like, I have a really good natural sense of direction when it comes to like hiking and whatnot, like walking. And then when I went through the military, I fucking nailed all my land nav stuff, except for the nighttime because I slept through it because I was a piece of shit. But I did it for real, and then I nailed that like when I did like the real training, not the basic training. But like I've been to other countries and like led my team of homies through like the wilderness and shit. Like I'm really good at it. So I came here and I wanted to get maps so I could have like just maps of the area, even just road maps. And it took me so long to find a physical map that was printed that I didn't have to pay for from a website.
Yeah, because you called me and you were like, yeah, I asked them if they had these. And
because you used to be able to get maps at the library.
And they were like, oh, well, apparently we don't have them. Like, when you ask, where did they go? And they're like, there's no record of them even being pulled. And
yeah. I was like, because I went to the local library in Inglewood and I was like, hey, I'm looking for maps, road maps, anything like that. And they're like, nobody uses those. We don't have them. And I was like, do you have like a room or anything? And they're like, no, don't even have them in our system, like in storage. And I was like, all right, cool. And they were like, you can print Google Maps from here. I was like, I don't want that. I want a legit map from the Department of Geography.
Hell, I think you went to like
I went
I
went to every branch in the greater Dayton area on the west side, and then I went to the main library in downtown.
I was at work, and I was like, what's going on with you, man? Like, what's going on? But it made sense when you told me about it. I was like, huh.
And
I'm like, okay.
And then when I got to the main library branch, I went to the historical lady first. I just skipped everybody. I went to the historical room lady, and I was like, I'm looking for fucking maps. And she was like, all right, yeah, we have a whole bunch of books of maps and atlases and all that stuff out on there. And I was like, cool, can you show me, please? She walked me to an empty fucking shelf.
It was nothing there.
It was not like one bookshelf. It was like entire like Webster's like maps gone, like atlases gone. And I was like, where'd they go? And she was like, oh, I guess they moved them. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I guess everything's digital, so they don't need them. And I was like, you work in the historical room, lady. What do you mean? Where did they go? And then she was like, well, we do have a room for storage of like old maps that we keep for like city purposes. And I was like, cool, where's that? And I had to go, and dude, there were maps. I was getting like these classified military maps that I can't even check out. So I was just like taking pictures of them. And then I had to go make like copies, like semi-legal copies of these maps just to get them. And then I finally had to go to a goddamn motherfucking rest stop.
Yeah.
To get a road map. And you notice all the rest stops are fucking closed now.
Yep. They don't ever fill up like any of their stuff for the maps. They don't do none of that stuff.
Yeah, and they're all getting rebuilt and revamped.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting rid of them. Everything to do with maps. Like
say hello to the digital world of
and it was fucking with me so hard because
you were like, what are they fucking hiding? Like,
dude, because that's part of it. Because digital maps can be altered so easily. On Wikipedia, a dude got in trouble for making like Missouri bigger every week. When he would get drunk, he would make it slightly bigger on the map. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was very funny. He got reported because he admitted to doing it on like 4chan, and then he got reported for it.
Of course, he admitted it on 4chan.
Well, yeah, that's the tards, obviously. And so digital maps are so easy to manipulate. If you don't have any physical maps, like you don't know the lay of the land, because the only way the land changes. Yeah, I'm building Legos. Leave me alone, motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the power on the helmet. Yeah, it's Legos. I'm a big ass nerd. Yeah, care about that for me. Yeah, I got tons of weird shit. But yeah, so my thing was like I just wanted a map just in case like I lose power or I don't have internet service. I can have a map in the car. That's just
you wanted to put it in your fucking bug out bags and shit.
Obviously,
you were like, obviously. Yeah, what happens if this goes down and I don't have a map anywhere? And like,
obviously,
I was like, okay,
all of Spain and Portugal have had a blackout all week. If you didn't know, it's actually kind of fucking crazy that there's 2 or 3 countries that have no power. Don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I pay attention to shit like that. I hope to God nothing like that happens, but I wanted a map in case it does.
I seen a video last night that you liked that came up in my feed on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
And it was when you're watching the news and Israel and Iran have both nuked each other, and he was like, it's Randy Marsh from South Park, and he's like, oh. And like puts the pillow over him, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, he starts beating off.
And I was like, yeah, you would. I figured you'd like that.
It was very funny. There was also, I saw another one. It was like modern millennials when the world ends. And it's just like the dude is like, oh, yeah, it's happening. I thought it might. So, all right, start loading the food in the car. And his wife or girlfriend's like, I'm just going to kill myself. There's no internet.
The fuck?
There's no Wi-Fi. What's the point? I'm going to get pimples. I can't shower. There's no hot water. There's no electricity. Why do I want to survive? I can't watch my shows. Twitter's gone. And so she's just complaining the whole time. And he's like packing the car and like
filming. I got to see that.
It's so funny. I'll find it for you later.
Send that to me because I want to see that.
But I sent that. I sent it to some of my army buddies. I was like, "This is my biggest challenge if the world ends: is convincing Kara that like it'll be okay." Fuck. The struggle of every critical thinking white man in America.
I could see that. So,
what's crazy about like the family line for your family, that's like my adopted family, is that like decorated. I'm not going to say war hero, but I mean there were so many.
Yeah, great grandpa was war hero.
Yeah, war hero, CIA agent. Like the transition there makes sense.
Then,
and then it goes to his kids.
Well, then grandma, like her dad, of the Patrick family, he was like, I gotta pull the information up because
you realize you're only like 4 handshakes from Hitler, right?
I guess so. But I met grandpa, great grandpa, grandma's dad. He was like a part of this. It was like a military like group that they started in like World War II, and like it was like I can't even remember what the name of it. It wasn't OSS. It was something else. But there was they only selected like 50 of them, and they went behind enemy lines to go do shit, and like I would have to ask I think Uncle Eric knows what it is because he takes like record of all that shit. But
yeah, he's the autistic one.
Yeah, pretty much. And he but it was really
he's probably going to be
really cool.
He's probably going to be the one that gets most of the arsenal that Grandpa has.
But then you've got Grandpa on Dad's side.
Yeah.
That was in the Navy, served on a nuclear submarine for his entire military career. And, enough when he can tell me to say, oh, yeah, we were carrying, IRBMs with nuclear tipped warheads, like, in the fucking submarines.
Yep.
And, like, both sides of the family just have nothing but military history, and a lot of it is, like, really interesting.
Yeah, and it's the point I was getting to, right, is like that there's just 2 generations back, you've got like decorated military people that were high up into the government just because of their accolades, and then you've got people that were actually in the military, and then you go down to what did all your uncles do?
Raymond went into the Navy. Rick was in the Navy. Dad tried to go to the military. He couldn't go because of diabetes, and then I don't know why Chuck didn't go.
Yeah, what about like Charlie mechanic?
Charlie didn't. Eric didn't.
What's Eric's job?
Eric was a police officer back in the day.
That's something.
But, and then you had Anna and Mom.
Yeah. So here's the point I'm getting to, right? 4 generations to Wigger. The deterioration of American society, 4 generations to Wigger, in what used to be one of the most industrious cities in America.
That's true.
That's insane to think about.
It is.
Like, no hate on you. I'm also Wigger adjacent, but like we're not all the way down the hole, but we can look down the road and be like, that could be me.
Yeah, that's true. We could.
Which is what that means, Wigger adjacent. But because in my family it's pretty similar. And like my mom's side of the family and my sperm donor side of the family. Because my grandpa on my birth father's side of the family, retired Master Sergeant out of Fort Stewart. Mm-hmm. Like went to Gulf War, Iraq War type shit. Mm-hmm. Like has photos and medals and shit. I think he's got a Bronze Star.
That's what great grandpa got. He had 2 Bronze Stars and 2 Gold Stars.
Yeah. So and then on my mom's side, it was her grandpa was in the Korean War, and I believe the Vietnam War. He drove the high-ranking dudes around.
Well, then you had like Uncle Chuck that just passed away recently.
Yeah,
he was what they called the Brown Water Sailors, like in the Vietnam War, which was they were the original group of what turned into the U.S. Navy SEALs.
I remember.
Yeah.
They were the original frogmen. Mm-hmm. Kara's family, her papa, who was really close with me.
World War II, wasn't he?
No.
Or Vietnam?
Korea,
Korea.
and Vietnam.
I do remember you telling me
Gunboat.
that he was,
Gunboat guy.
Ooh. Life expectancy wasn't very long.
No, but gunboat man. And then none of his kids went to the military.
Well, but it's whatever. But,
yeah, I'm the only one that went. I think one of my uncles on my birth father's side might have, but I can't remember.
Well, I remember.
But I'm the only one in my family that's done military stuff.
I remember when you enlisted.
And I've been around the spooks.
Well, I remember when you got enlisted and you come to me and you were like, hey, if you want to go, I know somebody who can overlook your stuff.
I was like, they would have lied.
And then, like, we got to talking about it, and I was like, well, if I end up having another heart attack, I'm going to be in a lot of fucking trouble.
Yeah, that's your
right?
ass. It'll also be your recruiter's ass, too.
Yeah.
Just like that Marine who had Down syndrome that slipped through the cracks and made it into the Marines somehow. Motherfuckers lie.
I mean, I can understand, like, lying about a condition that can't be very well seen, but I think you get past Down syndrome now.
They were just like, he's a fat body. He looks dumb. Who knows? You can't just... Because here's the thing, is you can look at most Down syndrome people and be like, they've got Down syndrome, but some of them are almost passive.
Some of them are like, it's hard to tell.
Like, there's one of the checkout dudes at the Walmart here in town. He's special, and I couldn't tell until he started talking. It's just like, he looks normal. He's walking kind of funny, though. He's kind of just a fat guy. And then he was like, he ran over to help me scan stuff at the self-checkout, and I was like, oh, thanks, man. You didn't have to do that. I'm just helping. I'm just helping.
I was going to crack a joke so bad, but...
Yeah, I was like... I looked at the camera on the self-checkout that was staring at me. I was just like...
Well, I was going to say, there's a couple people you and me have worked with where they could have fit that criteria very well.
Yeah, like Flip-Flop.
Flip-Flop, Brandon.
Flip-Flop, Brandon. Flip-Flop especially. He's like the Shane Gillis archetype where he looks like it grazed him.
That kid was something else, man.
We call him a kid. He was older than me.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a kid to me, though.
I know. I mean, he was only like a year younger than you.
Yeah, he was around your age.
No, because I remember thinking he was my age and then being like, no, I'm 27.
I don't know, man, but
and I'm about to turn 27.
I mean, look, man, anybody who shows up to a job interview wearing flip-flops, cargo shorts, and torn t-shirt,
fuck yourself.
Yeah. And
any type of job interview.
I remember
if you show up to a job interview that's for spinning fucking signs, you better be wearing anything else.
I remember us sitting there, and
I'd rather you wear a fursuit.
And Chris looked at me and you and was like, yeah, I hired somebody new to help you guys out at nighttime. And then, like, he showed us and told us, and we were like, what the fuck are you thinking, dude? Like,
he's pure retard fuel. Like, I'm convinced that he was drinking on the job, and we just couldn't prove it because he was so fucking dumb.
Well, not only that, the other guy that we had worked with, his name was David. You remember him?
Yeah.
That dude was the biggest compulsive liar I've ever met in my whole life.
Of course.
And, like, this dude, I remember...
We worked in a white trash environment surrounded by, like, actual white trash.
Well, before he dropped the fucking Silverado 1500 off the lift...
Very funny.
With no tires on it.
Very funny.
Oh, yeah. Which I got my ass rang out for that, even though he was certified. But...
You should have been watching him. He's not my responsibility.
Yeah, I remember Chad bent over backwards for me on that one, even though it wasn't my fault. But I remember him being back there and lying to all of us. Saying,
about everything.
Oh, yeah, I used to go on tour, and, I used to play in this band, and, oh, yeah. He was trying to say that he dated, like, Selena Gomez and all this shit and everything.
And I knew that guy outside of work because he used to go to my school, and my roommate in high school was really close with him. And don't get me wrong, David could play decent guitar, but he never in his life did anything like that.
I remember that he was lying so bad one day and making up such bad shit that Shad was trying to control himself so much from laughing that he walked to the battery cage
and just started howling,
dude. Like, and then I went back there and checked on him. I'm like, dude, are you okay? And he's like,
because
I've never met a bigger liar in my life than him.
Yeah, and when Shad really starts getting the laughing, he like has like the belly jump of like a big fat guy, and that tires him out. So he was out of breath, like he's a fucking moron.
Oh man,
so funny.
If you're gonna have kids, have decent work ethic. It'll go on. We would have been fine with him being a retard if he had better work ethic. And agreed.
I've gotten along with a lot of dumb people. Some of my best friends are like full blown, like barely fucking passing as normal intelligence. Shut up. No, you've just been banged around a lot. You started out normal and you've just lost brain cells as you've taken hits.
Yep, that's true.
But like my buddy Ned, who's like, when you look at him, he's the same as the Shane Gillis architect. You're like, he's a fucking retard. But he's wearing like a $50,000 Rolex and stuff because he has a job that requires low intel. But and he's a great guy. He's got a phenomenal work ethic. He says some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, to the point where like Kara's had to stop me because I'm having screaming arguments with him. Just, you're a retard. You're a retard.
I know,
you're a
you
retard.
told me quite a bit, yeah.
Dude, because he's just dumb, and it's okay. But he works hard. He's a really good friend. That's another thing.
Well, there was something else that I was going to say that. Oh yeah, if anybody isn't aware, Logan has it out for Shane Gillis. So
not out. I really want to like dap him up for trying to cuck my mom's boyfriend, because that's shooting for the moon right there. Because have you met David?
No.
Yeah, so he's like a olive-skinned Mediterranean man that's jacked. He's like my height. He's like fit. He does like CrossFit and stuff. So he's really shredded, and he's bald, and he like really takes care of himself. He's a really well put together, fit man. Mm-hmm. My mom loves him. He's great. Huge pussy, humongous pushover.
I remember you telling me that too.
Yeah.
Especially with the car.
So the fact that Shane Gillis was hitting on my mom is really just admirable, for him being like, I can tell this guy's a huge pussy. Well, gigantic pussy.
Granted, I understand why he did that. Because your mom is very pretty and she has a very good personality to.
Oh yeah.
Like, everybody you'd be like, oh yeah, that would stick out really well as her personality.
Yeah. Also, the weed store in Yellow Springs is probably going to close because Ohio just passed a law that you have to be a licensed dispensary to sell hemp products.
No shit.
Unanimously passed it on the 30th.
You make those laws and you go back on them when it's just...
Well, it's because there's Haji shops that are selling spice, basically. They're selling like K2 infused weed, and that's not good. And like, obviously, the weed store in Yellow Springs isn't doing anything like that.
Of course.
But their weed is also a little more expensive because of that. So it's the shops that sell really cheap flower. Like our dude in Trotwood, like I like him. He's cool. Some of his CBD products are spice infused. And it's not knowingly.
Which one, Trotwood?
The one that I used to go to all the time. And it's only the ones that are the synthetic. Like they'll tell you somewhere on the package, really small synthetic cannabinoids. That's spice.
Back in the day when people were getting spice for the first time, it was making people go nuts and
dude,
shit.
It's still a thing. It's just spice has been huge in jails for a long time. I see them all the time. You can go on Instagram and see the prisoners losing their shit on salvia. Spice. Yeah. K2.
I remember fucking salvia back in the day when I was a teenager.
Well, I know. I never fucked with it because I firsthand witnessed someone OD on it down in Kentucky. Yeah. One of my cousin's homies who was already like a crazy maniac.
Oh, I remember I was like 16, 17. Biggest thing was you could go to the 70s rock shop right there in Union. And,
yeah, it's still here. Yeah. I love those things.
And that was the main place that you could buy salvia. And we've seen so much online. Like, hey, we're going to try it. Yeah, fuck that shit. I will never touch the shit again. I won't even fucking really.
Dude, a lot of
after the last time that happened.
Yeah, a lot of for whatever reason, there's a lot of salvia heads. Like there's a fucking a viral video that was a couple months ago of some dude being like, I'm gonna gardening on salvia, and he like starts gardening and then he takes a hit of salvia and then he just.
Now
he like a bug that died from, like when a spider dies slowly.
I watched. I don't know if that's the same dude or not, but he did say like, "Oh yeah, this is what it's going to be like when I drive on salvia." And like he got in the car, he couldn't even fucking go anywhere.
Yeah,
like he just sat there in the driver's seat.
Yeah,
and
then just passed out.
Yeah,
that's salvia's great.
Was tweaking hard.
Yeah, of course. They look like bugs that have been sprayed with poison.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't fuck with it. And it's so easy to OD on. And that's what a lot of synthetic cannabinoids that are sprayed on, like, because they just spray it on the plants when they grow like regular hemp. They just spray it on the bud, the synthetic cannabinoids, K2. And a lot of it evaporates or gets broken down into a slightly different cannabinoid, but it's still synthetic. Mm-hmm. It can still fuck you up.
People, just need to stay away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really... It's a bummer that they're going to shut down one of the only clean, independent weed shops.
I know. I mean, and that's a shame.
Because dispensaries are gay.
And then, I
don't want to have to immediately, because now I have to grow weed.
Yeah, and it's a pain in the ass.
And I still have to get those trees removed, so I can't grow weed back there yet.
Well, the thing is, like, they don't stop to think, oh, hey, if we shut these places down, people are going to go and do it illegally, and they're going to get it. And then they're going to take more of a chance of getting it that way.
Yeah, now here's the thing also, is they're taking revenue away from the state, because by shutting down these independent dispensary-style shops, people like the guys I used to buy weed from are just going to go to Michigan. They're just going to go to Illinois. They're just going to go to the next state over where they can get it for cheaper because it's been legal for their longer.
It makes me wonder how that one shop over there off of I think it's
we are white trash. We're just talking about smoke shops.
I think it's Salem over there, right on the edge of Trotwood. I think it's like Good Buds or something like that. I went to high school with a guy who actually owns that place, and I don't know how his shop's gonna fare. Now I don't know. If
a lot of those shops, what they're gonna do is they're just gonna switch to almost exclusively nicotine products, or like those shady-ish Delta 8 products. Even though a lot of those are gonna have to switch around. And obviously it's not immediate. It's gonna be time and whatnot. And the issue with the one in Yellow Springs is they won't be able to get a dispensary license because they're so close to a school. And they have to be a freestanding building, and Tweedles isn't a freestanding building. But on the plus side, I might just get enough weed from there for free when they close I might not have to worry about it for a little while.
Be able to stock up on everything.
Because I've already got like 2 pounds in there right now.
I know.
So I'd be big chilling. I've only gone through like I think 7 Gs in the last month.
Yeah, when you guys were gone.
Which sounds like a lot to other people, but I'm a fucking pothead, and so is my wife.
Well, when I stayed here when you guys were out of town, and then I went out to go smoke for that first time in the garage, and I seen everything out there, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, I can actually show you because right now it's all cleaned up, but if you see the paper bag I have, it's just full of 4-gram bags. It's just a lot of weed. Yeah, I understand why they're doing it. Why? Because their knee-jerk reaction is always to fucking just slam the ban hammer down. You're like, oh, see, some people are getting bad stuff from these independent shops. Make it dispensary only. You have to get a license to do this.
Yeah.
In reality, what they should have done is they should have gotten someone off their ass to go to all these independent shops and then say, hey, these things need to be removed.
Like an audit.
Yeah. We're paying for the government to review these things anyway. They shouldn't just slap a law down. They should send someone to these places.
Oh, I agree.
And then be like, hey, these products you have 6 months to remove them from your shelves.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
If not, fat fine. And here's why. because people are getting sick, people are dying, and if we trace this purchase of someone who died back to your shop, we will close you down.
It's no different than somebody, dealing illegally and them selling them fentanyl laced pills or weed or anything like that.
Yeah, if that person dies,
and they're like, they died because of the shit you gave them. You're fucking done. You're going to jail.
2nd degree manslaughter.
Yep,
gone, and a drug charge.
And they should,
gone.
And they should do it.
And that's how it works. Which, to an extent, that should be the case for, I want to say liquor stores, to an extent. If there's people who are, because liquor store owners know who their best customers are.
Mm-hmm.
If your best customer goes out and drunk drives and kills someone,
well,
the store should be held not legally responsible for that death, but they should be held to some type of fine for allowing that person to continue to that extent.
Now, here's what I think.
But I also agree in free will, so I get it.
Now, I'll agree with, this is what they need to do, and I'll give you an example.
They're going to slap this hard on weed.
Like when I worked at Wolf Creek area, we had regular customers that would come in, always buy a 24-pack Busch Light when they come in, Bud Light, whatever it might be. I cannot tell you the amount of times that people would come in there and they're like, hey, I want a 12-pack or a 24-pack, whatever. And when they come in, they're drunk or they're buzzed, and I can smell the alcohol on them.
And you're not allowed to sell to them.
And I can turn them away, and I would. And I would get in trouble all the time by the owner, like, that's one of our customers, our regulars, you can't be doing that. And I said, the fuck I can't. What are you going to do? You going to fire me for not selling to somebody who's already fucking illegally drinking and driving?
It should be the same crime as selling to a minor.
Yeah. Now, I think...
Because if you sell cigarettes or anything to a minor now, it's an immediate $1,000 fine.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think that in what you said, basically, if a person comes in and they're drunk or they come through a drive-thru or whatever it is, and they're driving a vehicle and you can tell they're already under the influence, and you sell to them, you need to be held accountable. But I think
you need to catch a fine. Now, I don't think like jail time or something.
Now,
like that.
if a place sells like, hey, this, and then that person was sober when they come in, they go home, they get drunk, get in the car, go out and they kill somebody. Nah, they shouldn't be held accountable for that.
No, but if someone comes in and they're visibly
absolutely,
and the owners shouldn't be encouraging them to sell to everyone. It's ridiculous.
It's no different than a bar cutting you off after lunch.
Yeah, it's the same. It's and that's up to the bartender's discretion. It should be up to the guy behind the counter's discretion.
Oh, dude, I can't tell you.
Because when I worked in a McDonald's and I lived in Florida, I worked third shift at a McDonald's, which is hell on earth. And there would be people who would come in drunk in the McDonald's. I would just straight up call the cops on him and be like, I got a dude in my drive-thru. I'll hold him here until you get here. He's drunk off his ass, like opening containers.
Well, like, I got in trouble so many times at work because they would hold that against me. Like, no, that's one of our regular
And I did get
customers.
in trouble. I did get in trouble for doing that from McDonald's.
They don't want you fucking seeing shit like that. But then if that person goes out, gets in a wreck or anything like that, they're going to be like, why did you sell this to him when you were...
Yeah, it's like, why? Because that's the thing, is I don't want to come back on and have to talk to a cop and be like, did you see that this dude was holding a Corona when you handed him a Sprite?
Yep.
Yeah, I did. Well, he just killed a family of 4. Fuck.
Yep, and that's on your conscience forever.
Yeah, and it's going to haunt me. It's fucking gay. Yeah, we're about 53 minutes.
Okay.
That's good. But
yeah.
This is a good episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to name it. I was thinking, because I was trying to lean you into the War Heroes to Wiggers. That might be the title, War Heroes to Wiggers.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, we grew up in a white ghetto, almost exclusively. And we've gone to almost exclusive black schools for however long.
Yep.
Which is tough. Which is why I don't think racism is real. Well, I think it's manufactured.
I had more friends growing up in Meadowdale and everything than I did when I got along with everybody better at Meadowdale than when I transferred over to fucking Vandalia a predominantly all white, high class.
I hated going to Brookville when I transferred there, and I went from like a white trash school that was like pretty half and half with like skin color kids. I went down in Cincy, and I came up here to Beeville, which is 99% white progressive community. I hated it because they didn't know. They ever thought everything was racist, or they were being racist and didn't know it. And I was like, you guys have never been around black people. You don't understand. The only people of color in this town are the Asian people that run the Great Wall. And I was friends with them.
It's a shame to see it like that.
You can kind of see it out here in Greenville because like it's a predominantly white community. I've seen people of color. I've seen black people. I've seen Mexicans. I've seen some Asians. I'm pretty sure I saw a Filipino. Community. But it's predominantly white. But everyone here is stupid friendly.
It's true.
And I didn't grow up in that. I grew up in the predominantly white. Everyone's fucking mean.
Like when I was at Casey's gas station before I got here, there was a woman that was she was just being extremely energetic and like loud, like the woman working there. I kept like trying to ease my way to the door, and she kept trying to talk to me.
Oh yeah,
and
they love talking.
And I'm like, you got too much energy for me right now,
dude. They love talking out here. There's some fucking energetic honkies out in Greenville. It's wild, like, and that's what it is. But when it's what you also see is the different phenotypes, the different archetypes of white, because everyone working at the Walmart is pretty much like an elderly person or special needs.
Yeah. Which
is what Walmarts used to be.
Yeah.
You remember like a Walmart in 2003?
Oh, I do.
Everyone working there was either retarded or old.
Yeah. And the lobster tanks.
Yeah. And this is an old school Walmart. They don't have the aquarium or anything, but like
I got something
it's so nice.
Real quick. A couple years ago, this is when you were deployed. Mom called me, and she was at Walmart. I think this is when she was still working there, and like she called me one day, and she's like, "Jay," I'm like, "What?" She's like, "There's a fucking lobster walking around in the pharmacy."
Hell yeah.
And I was like, what? And she's like, there's a fucking live lobster in the pharmacy aisles. And I'm like, what? And she's like, Jay, we haven't had lobster tanks since like early 2000s. And I'm like, where'd it come from? And she's like, I don't know.
Somebody brought a lobster.
Yeah, somebody put a lobster in there. And I was like, okay.
It's crazy. You can still go to Kroger and see live lobsters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Walmarts, and it's because of the demographics that shop at Walmart.
It's not the craziest thing I've ever heard at Walmart, but like, you know.
And no, I used to do worse things.
No, I've heard of people. Do you remember when we were working in there that they told us that one guy took a shit in one department and then went to another department, took another shit, and then went to another department and took a shit.
Yeah, he was like pinching. He would drop a log, pinch it, waddle to the clothing department, drop a log, pinch it, and then run over to the electronics, and then shit.
We've caught people, banging in the
bathroom.
Shit, no, we're
family
talking
bathroom,
the home decor aisles and everything. Like where
the clothing aisles are really bad for it, which is also partially why they always have people in them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen shit.
Yeah, but this Walmart here is clean.
I like it.
Nothing's locked up, really. Mm-hmm. They have some stuff, like in the hardware stuff.
It's reminiscent of, like, the old Walmarts before they got a remodel.
It's pre-2015 Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I haven't been in the Marshalls here yet, but the Lowe's is fucking massive, too.
Is it?
Nice as fuck. They are nosy as shit. There was some fucking dwarf man with like mutton chops following me around because I was high as shit, walking around looking at blind pricing. He was like, "Do you need help finding anything?" I'm just staring at my phone, looking at blind measurements. Just high as fuck. Just like, "No, I'm good, man. I'm just price checking." And then he followed me for like 20 minutes, and I was like, "I'm not gonna steal blinds."
Yeah, you got better. You got a better temper than I do because I would have said something.
I was like, "I'm not gonna steal blinds." Well, I was also higher than God. Like. Probably visibly high in a Lowe's, just being like, These are okay. She probably won't like those. But yeah, because that's all. I'm all tool time right now. Home improvement, Tim Allen type shit. That's my Wigger coming out. Yeah, I think that'll be the title though. War Heroes, the Wiggers.
I'm cool with that.
That's funny.
That does. That sounds good.
It takes 4 generations of men to turn from a upstanding war hero citizen, clean cut, to a Wigger that works on cars and says faggot.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, to be fair, they were still saying faggot back then, but like now it's like bad.
Yeah. We don't care.
You know, if you really, we haven't changed that much.
Nah.
We just don't have a war to fight.
Yeah, we just don't have a war to fight right now.
No, it's coming though. China, India, Pakistan, they're all.
Yeah, it is. Slowly,
I can't wait for the dirty bombs in India that drop that are just shit. They're just shit. Actually, the Pakistanis are going to do the opposite of a dirty bomb. They're just going to drop Dawn dish soap in 50-gallon buckets across all of India. Well, but that's it for this.
All right, check out Lost Paladin Plays. He's actually streaming now too,
yeah.
So you can check him out on Twitch.
And then you'll be moving in here soon. Game challenges.
Yep, and we can do more content when I do.
Yeah, we're gonna have gaming videos, talk videos, everything up. We're gonna be expanding because now we get the new studio. I have a house. I'm no longer stuck in the rental hamster wheel. I'm now stuck in the mortgage hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Later.